Welcome back to yet another video and to my channel. And if you are new to this particular channel, please hit the subscribe button for more such videos, texts, and tips and career insights. So today we are going to deep dive into one of the most essential tools which we use in the software development, that is the world of Git. So we are going to look into it, and in this video I'm going to cover up, I'm going to walk through the Git interview questions, and also specifically for the beginners who are looking out for Git, what exactly Git is, why we use it, whether you are preparing for your interview in a tech industry, or like you're brushing up your interview skills. This video will be definitely helpful to you, and you'll be able to confidently answer the questions on Git. So let's sure you watch this video till the end without skipping. So first of all, we'll discuss about why Git is essential in the software development. Okay, so if you look at the Git, right, the Git is nothing but a distributed version control system, though it is basically used for tracking the changes made over the times. Okay, so there are developers who are working in a different locations. They will allow the developers to collaborate efficiently. If there are any changes rollback done, it can manage the changes, different versions of the project. Okay, so that gives you a power to do that. When it comes to teamwork and continuous integration, Git plays a very important role. Now Git ensures that multiple developers which are working on the same projects can multiply simultaneously without stepping out of each other's, like to going outside or somewhere, like they can actually work together, right? Whether they are in any time zones. Now, this is must-known skill for any software developer, and they should be in the part of their toolkit. And one of the most frequently questions which are asked to test the skills, right? So these are quite important. Okay, so we will focus on like what uh, the Git fundamentals are, what are the essential commands, branching strategies and merging, right? Tips for interview related to the Gits related interview questions. Okay, so if you are a beginner, you need to brush up your skills. This video will be helpful for you, right? So why Git and why we use it, right? So we use it for the developer to track and maintain the changes in the source code. Okay, so think of it like a machine where you have your code, right? And then what are you going to do is that you're going to work on the project, you're going to make some mistakes, and then you can go back and then you can fix that particular mistake without affecting the rest of the work or the environment. Now, this Git allows you to work along with different developers, making it is going to be merging their changes and tracking them, which is going to be helpful for everyone who is doing it, right? So this is the why do we use it? Like we use it for this purpose. Okay. Now there are version controls and benefits which are associated with Git. Let's look into it. Firstly, we look into the version control. Now when it comes to version control, right, it is going to help you keep track all the changes which are made in the project, whether any developer, any branch, right, you're going to keep track of it. It is like keeping log of every changes which is done by the developer on your code, right? So you never lose any previous version which has been committed, or like you have missed some code commits which are there in the and it has been merged to the main branch, right? So you can keep track of everything and keep yourself updated. Now what is the benefit along with that? So it gives you a quite collaboration, so multiple people can work on the same project at the same time, right? Backup, if you are taking backup of that, so if there is a mistake, right, so you can also go back to that particular previous version of the working version, and then you can revert back the changes. Thirdly, history wise, you can go and see your project wise evolvement, how it has grown over the time since you started, right? So that gives you an insight of it, like how long you have traveled. Branching, there are different branching strategies, new features has been as you go on with the new module development and other features being added. So you can strategically plan your releases, and you can migrate it to the main project, right? So without affecting your main project, you can develop some features, and then strategically you can, with the help of the branching strategy, you can merge it to the main branch ultimately after everything the testing and has been completed. Okay, so that's the benefit of it. Now we'll look into like what is the difference between Git and GitHub. Now many people are a little bit confused. What is Git and what is GitHub, right? So Git is nothing but it's a tool basically for version control. Now this can be run locally on your computer, and it will track off all your changes in the code changes. Now GitHub, when you look at it, it's an online platform that which is going to host your Git repositories. Whatever Git repositories you are going to commit and create it, right? So it is going to be hosting those particular repositories. Now it will allow your code which you have committed, collaborated and even developed, right? So with the other projects, right? So it will give you a, so that's the difference. If you see, Git is a version control system now, and GitHub is a platform which is going to share and manage your Git repository. So that's the basic difference. Uh, Now we'll look at the very essential commands or the common commands which are asked for Git. Okay. Now if you look at the very first thing, it is Git init. Now if you wanted to create a new uh, project, or new things at the start of the particular projects, right? You go to that particular folder and you're going to initiate a command that is going to be a Git initiate, right? So it is going to create, and it will start tracking from there, and the moment you start a Git init command, right? So that's where your life cycle starts from tracking the purpose of that particular project and the code. Secondly, git add. Now you wanted to, let's say, stage some changes to which are has to be committed, right? Now you have modified some file. Now what you can do is that you can call the git add command and give the file name which you wanted to get it add to get it to the staging area before you ultimately going to commit it. So that's the git add command. Git commit, basically after all these particular changes and the staging the area what you have done in the Git repository, it's time to commit the changes. Now you have added some changes, you are going to commit that particular message and push the code to the repository, right? So the Git command is there. Now you have to commit a message. You have to give a message that what kind of detail or what kind of features or what kind of commit are you going to do, so that along with your commit the message goes in, and the person who is going to review it or look at it is going to understand, like certain features or certain things has been committed in this particular thing. So it will give you a descriptive message what has been done till now and committed in it. Git status now shows the current status. What is the current status of the working directory, the staging area, what are the files which has been modified, and other details. It will give you the all the files which are untracked, which are all the files which are modified and which has not been staged yet. Okay, so before you commit that, you will get those details. So now there is another command which is git push. So basically this is called after uh, you can also call it as an git command, commit and push, but you can separately call it like after you commit it, the code changes which are there in your local repository, in your local machine, this has to be pushed to the server. So git push is going to push your changes from your local to the main branch and the main repository over there. Now we look at the branching and the merging strategies. Okay, so these are quite important when you're working in a very big organizations, and this plays a very strategic role of how your release management is going to happen and how are you going to merge your code changes. Let's say a group of 100 people are working, right? What are the different branches you are going to create? Ultimately, like how are you going to merge that particular code changes or the branches to a main branch, right? Which is going to ultimately be given as and served to the client as an whole product, right? So we doesn't develop everything on at once. You develop the changes chunk by chunk. Different small teams, the agile teams develop it, and then ultimately they are going to merge it, right? So that is what is happening in the real world, and that's the power of agile, right? So that's the benefit of making use of Git which will enable you to make your code changes separately, run your project, test it, and then ultimately merge, test it, and then ultimately merge it into the main branch. Now, what is branching? As I mentioned, so branching is nothing but you have creating a separate copy of your project or the work, and then you're going to add some new feature in it. You're going to fix some bugs. You're trying to see, like, you want to experiment some code which is already affecting the main project. So what you have to do is that you have to create a separate branch over. Now, why branching is important is that it's quite important aspect when it comes to when you're dealing with multiple developers and different tasks. You're given separate in the sprint. You're dealing with people who are given different tasks, right? So they will be having their own version of committed codes. They should be reviewed, and ultimately they will be merged and then tested as a whole. So that's the one way of doing it. So once the feature is ready, so you can merge it back to the main branch. That's the benefit of it. Now, what how can you create a branch is out of it is that you have to write a command git branch and the branch name. So it is going to create a new branch for you. Ultimately, let's say the already the branch is created in the repository. Okay. Now, what you have to do, like, you have to take it that into the local. So you can do that. You can check out that particular branch out it, and you can shift that particular to the. Let's say you had another branch which you are currently, say, working in directory of yours. Now you want to shift to another branch. So git checkout will going to switch it from that particular branch to the new branch. So merging wise, if you see, as we the ultimate goal would be directly whatever the code changes you have done in the branches, the different branches. Ultimate goal is to merge into the main branch because everything has to be tested up. So this is going to be a merging to the main branch, whatever branch you wanted to merge it. Okay. So there are common scenarios for branching, like let's say we have some feature development. So developers are working on different branches and features. You have some bugs, you have some potential conflicts which is there, where you have to merge the branches, right? So you can git can automatically make these changes very easy for you, and you are going to help with you manual merging whichever it is cumbersome, right? Let's say there are 100 developers at a certain version, they have taken the pull, and then it is very difficult to keep those tracking the changes where exactly they have started off and where they have completed. There might be hundred of millions of changes of lines of code they might have introduced, but those has to be clearly automatically, and sorry, sometimes it is not automatically merged, but you have to manually merge it, and that has to be safely merged so that other codes which are written is not going to break it up. So resolving that particular conflicts are also very quite important when it comes to git. Now, uh, tips, I wanted to share some tips where you can actually master some of the interviews, right? So let's say uh, enhance your interview skills. So what you do is that you have to practice your git commands regularly. So you are having a project or a report created, you have to continuously make yourself comfortable with the git commands which we already discussed. So these are all the commands which we have already discussed are the basic commands to start off. There are n number of commands, n number of variation. If you go to the git help, you'll be able to get the variations out of it. There are different uh, complexities involved. Okay, when you're dealing with, there are some problems which in the real time we face it. So you have to regularly make practice, and you have to be quite confident when you're trying to answer it, right? So there are many different challenges when it comes to your personal project. You're implementing some branching, you're doing some merging and commit, and conflicts are raised up. So making hands on it will give you a better edge on it. Now, understanding the workflow of how it it gets works, right? So it will be uh, give you an edge. So in interview perspective, if you might ask, like, about the different workflows, like there are git flows, git hub, flow, right? So there are different branching strategies which are used when you are working in the real life projects. So you have to make yourself familiar with those and how the team uses it to collaboratively effect their code changes. Now there are some behavioral questions on collaboration, like how you collaborate with team. Like let's say he might ask you, how tell me about how you I mean, tell me about like when you had a conflict within the team, and then and while using the Git, how do you have resolved it, right? So they wanted to understand the practical challenges which you have faced in. Now he might be also asking you how do you collaborate and resolve the merge conflicts. Let's say how you take the latest pull of the latest code. How do you commit it, right? Who does the review? So there are different a number of questions which are involved, and you have to get it prepared, right? So make sure you have this particular behavioral related questions also be prepared. Now, so far we have discussed about like the basics and all the related concepts of Git. Now, I wanted to give you if you want to get deeper into what exactly Git is about and how you can learn more about it. There are different Git hub learning labs. There are Academy, frequent code offers, which is interactive, like in the GitHub tutorials, I would say. So there are Git documentations out as well, so you can watch out those look out for the documentation. There are a number of forums available, right? But ultimately, it is going to be the practice which is going to give you an edge and make you better at it. So generally, to sum it up, Git is kind of a very powerful tool which you can essentially use for software development, right? So you have to master it. Will help you your interview to be cracked up, and you have to be a better developer. So remember, like Git is something which you are going to get better at practice. So keep experimenting, keep commanding with the check out the commands. You have to don't have to be afraid about like you have done some mistake, right? Until you make some mistake, you're not going to learn, right? So I hope this video was helpful to you, and if this video was helpful, gives us a thumbs, and you don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. I will be making such videos on interviews and then other challenges which you face during the interviews and other learning things which will be helpful to you. Thank you.